Hey, this is Mad Hatter, and today I want to share an update to the Bedrock Technical Resource Pack, the best pack that I'm aware of for technical building in Minecraft. And I'm not going to lie, Bud has come up with some really cool things. He's helped me out on this so much. So let's give a shout out to Bud, and let's get into the changes. These are crazy requested changes that I didn't think were possible. So let's get into it. So first off, you know about the chunk borders. We got north, south, east, west, but that's not the cool part. It now works in first person. And it works better than it has before. It is a lot less jittery. It's a lot less fluttery, and it is such an improvement. And one other thing that happened is we figured out a method that we don't need the rocket in our offhand, and it will just stick around. So that's pretty cool. I don't know about you, but it's always been a little bit annoying to place the blocks in third person. Now having it in first person, such an improvement. Another thing, he fixed slime chunks, so they work in first person. There's a slime chunk right there. Again, it works in first person. This one is a little bit more jittery, but it is still so much better. You can see slime chunks in first person. Still works in third person. And it is toggleable on and off with a Nautilus shell in your offhand. And you can also do the rockets to turn it off. But that's not all. So one of the things you may be aware of is Slackville moved to Sim 6, which means that the Sim 4 spawn sphere is okay, but it doesn't tell us everything we want to know. So we figured out a way that you could get Sim 4 and Sim 6 spawn spheres. The cool thing is you now can do it without the armor stand by putting a rocket in both hands. You will switch through the spawn sphere states. This will get you up to Sim 12, which is the highest sim in Bedrock, but you should notice there's something very different about Sim 6 versus Sim 4. It's no longer a sphere. This is where mobs will despawn at the edge of these chunk borders. Outside, no mobs spawn. Inside, they do spawn. The sphere is actually 128 blocks above and below, so you get a huge amount more spawn areas. In my opinion, this is the best way to play Minecraft. Sim 6 is just better than Sim 4 because when you're in the nether, the ghasts aren't spawning in your face. They're spawning way above you or way below you, and you don't just immediately die. When you're caving, they spread out way above and way below. There's fewer mobs to kill you. You can't actually get the cave to fill up with mobs because you have such a short area on Sim 4. I love Sim 6. It is the best way to play Minecraft. In addition, we also have Sim 8, which just pushes out another 2 chunks. Sim 10, another 2 chunks. Sim 12. Sim 12 almost fits the 128 blocks in radius. There's actually a few spots where it'll clip, but it's just think of it as the 128 blocks. You can see it's clipping on the edge right there. A couple of blocks won't be spawnable, but all in all, it is a huge improvement. Now, one of the things that he also added, if I go down, you can get your ticking area. You can see where you're at in the chunk. You can get your ticking area. And this is the block that you were marked on. And you can get the beacon areas. So this tells you how far each beacon level will go. And the beacon would have to be placed at this block. It'll also do vertical, but it goes infinitely vertical, and then it only goes down a few blocks underneath. Okay, this is great, but one of the things that I don't really want to have happen is I cycle through my inventory while I'm fighting, and these things get in my face and it distracts me and I die. So one of the things that I had asked for and Bud put together for us is still on armor stands, you can get the Sim 4, and then you can pose it to Sim 6, Sim 8, Sim 10, Sim 12, and then go back to Sim 4. In this way, you could pull it out. You can pull the item out of his hand to make it go away, and you can put it back in to bring it back up. When I'm playing, I don't necessarily want to be cycling have this up all the time. So sometimes I'll want to like take this off, and cycling through is kind of a lot of fiddly work. So I really like that you have the option of still using the armor stand, and it's very clear that you're on Sim 6 from the armor stand perspective. You can also do beacons, and what do you always have when you are setting up a beacon, or you should always have, is the beacon base. So you can put one of the blocks from your beacon base in and see how far it extends. Note that the largest version of the beacon will not actually work in the corners. In some of the corners, the Sim 4 will clip your beacons. Another reason I don't like Sim 4 is a lot of things just don't work as well as they should. Another big improvement, when you put up your ticking area item, before you would have it de-render right as soon as you got 70 blocks away. Because Bud has set it up for particles, this now works pretty much indefinitely. One of the questions that people are going to ask is, can you make this work for Structura? I don't think so, because these only work for flat surfaces, and there's so many flat surfaces in Structura that I think you would overwhelm the client, and it just would not really cope. I might play with it, but it's a long shot, and it'll take a long time before I could get that in. In any case, this is so much nicer to not have it de-render whenever you're getting 70 blocks away, and it just works really nicely. Anyway, all of the old stuff is still there, so the spawn spots for all of the structures that are supported. We don't have one for Nether Fortress mobs yet. It's kind of tricky to do that one, and we haven't really figured out a good way to do that yet. So for now, everything in the pack that was impacted by this de-rendering at distance, where you would be using it at distance, has been updated, and I really love this toggle. Being able to take this out and then put a totem back in your offhand and still use a totem while you're doing chunk borders, or still put your arrows in your offhand or your shield or whatever, is really nice. Oh, and one other thing, and this is, I think, a big feature, is it will no longer show you particles for another player in the server. So like before, you would see people flying around and things getting all glitchy and crazy, and it would kind of be in your face. That's now fixed. You can just use it in first person, and you don't need that feature anymore. So this only renders for you. It does not render for your other server mates. So having a rock in your offhand is no longer a big pain in the butt. Anyway, this is Mad Hatter, and that's all I got for you today. If you enjoy it, join the Discord. We talk about these things and fix them in Discord. If you find any bugs, report them, let us know. And yes, this is available for free on GitHub. It's still open source. It's still available for people to help fix it and make it better. And thank you, Bud, again, for all the work you put into it. Anyway, this is Mad Hatter, and I'm out. Bye.